Hello everyone, how are you all doing today? I just want to start by apologizing for the late start and just thank you all for being here today. Hello to everyone who is watching online. Welcome to the Africa Week 2024 Keynote Address. My name is Tiniel Bako. I am an IB2 and I am the co-CEO of Africa Week alongside Imon Balikoa. A decade of growth, a decade of prosperity, and a decade of transformation. For 10 years, an immeasurable amount of students have committed themselves, their time, and their effort to building the compelling event that we all know as Africa Week today. But after 10 years, I think it's necessary that we ask ourselves, why is Africa Week so important? Why is Africa Week so impactful, and why is it so indispensable? You know, I've always found that there's no straightforward answer to this question, but to keep it simple, in 2015, a very inspirational man brought together a group of 18 students and gave them the platform to not only express themselves, but execute their ideas. These students believed that it was time that we as Africans come together and deservingly flaunt our pride and celebrate who we are. Africa is so uniquely rich in culture, in heritage, in people. We as a continent have accomplished so much. I mean, we've learned to be resilient, to be innovative, to thrive. And it's unfortunate to say that colonialism, Eurocentrism, and systematic biases have often overshadowed our achievements. But today, we, the leaders of the future, are here to reclaim Africa's narrative and celebrate the renaissance that is rightfully ours. And that is why Africa Week was created. As we continue to embark on this journey through Africa Week 2024, let us take a moment to appreciate the depth of the African continent. From our ancient civilizations to the vibrant and diverse contemporary societies, Africa has always been a cradle of innovation, culture, and revolution. And I hope that if there's one thing that you learned during this week, is that we all have the voice to tell the story of Africa's untold renaissance. Therefore, it is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today and present this gift to the founder of Africa Week, Mr. Polycarp Kesa.
Hello everyone. Allow me to respond to those very kind words by the Chief Executive of Africa Week this year. We started Africa Week in 2015, and that year was just about the right time to start Africa Week, partly because of the composition of the student body that was there, diverse, talented, and passionate about the continent. The concept of Africa Week was a collaborative process in liaison with the Visual Arts Department. Ramila played a very important role, and Visual Arts exhibition was always a part of Africa Week. The Theatre Arts Department, the Music Department, and of course supported by the Advancement Office and the Principal's Office. That was also made possible by the founding sponsors of Africa Week, the Standard Bank, represented here today by the Chief Finance Officer. The question was, why Africa? Why Africa and why Africa Week? Part of it was to present an opportunity for the exploration, appreciation, and celebration of Africa's sounds, beats, and rhythms that define the essence of Africa's cultures. It was also an opportunity to exchange perspectives, challenge assumptions such as Africa being the dark continent. You may have heard that. Africa is often referred to or depicted as one homogeneous entity, yet it's a vast continent comprising over 200 indigenous languages and civilizations spanning over 500 years. predating those of ancient Greece and Rome. Global broadcast media, popular culture, and charity campaigns often refer to Africa as a hopeless continent. In 2002, Times Magazine published a headline saying Africa, the hopeless continent, emphasizing poverty, political conflict, and disease. While some of that is true, it's not the only story of Africa. It's important to address it, but there are other aspects to Africa. Africa is on the cusp of a new era. You may have heard expressions such as Africa Rising, the 21st century belongs to Africa, and it is time for Africa. There are today 460 companies in Africa that earn $1 billion American dollars per year. The international community is increasing its diplomatic footprint in Africa. Over the last 12 years, at least 400 embassies have been opened, international embassies have been opened in Africa. China increasing partnership with Africa with over 10,000 Chinese businesses operating in Africa. Now, the intersection of Africa's consumer revolution, its vast natural resource base, Africa's being the fastest urbanizing continent in the world, its youthful demographic, the median age of Africa is 19. Africa is the youngest continent in the world. All of these and more present a compelling value proposition for the global economy. And it's imperative that the global economy realigns its value chains towards the continent of Africa. Therefore, discussing these dynamics is important for the world. How young people today perceive Africa, not as a dark continent, but as this dynamic continent, is important, because young people are the future leaders of Africa and the world, and how they perceive it will inform how their country's relationship with Africa will be in future. Waterford is fortunate to have a rich intellectual capital in terms of people, parents who are here, alumni who have graduated from here and work in various parts of the world. And so inviting them to this stage to discuss these dynamics with the students is very important. Finally, I would like to thank and congratulate the students in the executive team that have kept Africa Week going for 10 years now. Well done, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wakesa. I think it's important that as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of Africa Week, we truly understand where and why we came from. Next, I would like to call upon our very lovely principal to say a few words.
I think it's fine. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Sanibonani. Habari zenu? Bonjour. Guten Morgen. Aloha. Okay, great to know that we can speak many languages and we are as diverse as they come. All protocol observed. Firstly, I would like to thank all our invited guests who have come from far and wide, from as far as China this morning, to be here with us, and of course to celebrate and partake of this particular occasion. Thank you to our keynote speaker, Lehlé Baldé-Cameron, for honoring the invitation, having traveled all the way from Nigeria to be with us here this morning. Thank you to all our panelists from the first session we had in the morning to the session we'll have at the end of the day. I'd also like to thank all our workshop leaders who have been able to indulge the students in conversations around this very continent and what it holds for all our young people. I'd like to thank sponsors and staff without whom these events would not definitely take off. But for this particular success that we are experiencing today from the beginning of Africa Week on Wednesday, at the heart of the preparations, the brainstorming, the ideas, the thinking, and the action that we see unfold before us this week is a group of students who have gone out of their way to tell us hey, it's time we got out of the way and make way for themselves to be able to lead. And we have seen that leadership. Thank you very much, Africa Week executive team. I have heard from Polycarp this morning 2 things. That without collaboration, we go nowhere. That nobody can tell your story for you. We each have to tell our own stories. For the world to hear us, we have to use our voices. We have to stand tall and be able to speak. And speak about that which we have experienced. Speak about that which has been our history. And be proud of it, regardless of what it is and what it has been. Because we know that when we use our voices, we make the world listen. And I think this particular theme for Africa Week is a stark reminder that it is only we who can tell our stories. It is only we who have what it takes to occupy the right spaces to let the world know that it is time for us, that it is time for Africa. The mission of the United World Colleges is to make education a force to unite people, nations, cultures for peace and sustainable living. This mission remains critical in a world increasingly fraught with political, social, environmental, and economic challenges. Our commitment to diversity, intercultural understanding, and holistic personal development is more relevant now than ever. As the UWC movement looks towards 2030, with a very robust strategic plan, our vision focuses on harnessing our legacy and mission to address emerging global challenges and seize opportunities for transformative impact. And this vision is rooted in UWC's core values of peace, sustainability, and the belief in education as a unifying force. But how can we do this if we don't tell our own stories? Stories of our past are impactful stories. They remind us who we are. They urge us to think about today. They give us valuable lessons about where we want to be tomorrow. They find opportunities and room in discourses in our living quarters. Those stories are stories that must never be forgotten. Because if we talk about a bleeding world, a fractured world, a world that is crying out for us to rise up and take on the mantle and focus on change and leadership and what it is we desire for ourselves and for our young ones, it is because we have to say that it is time for us to engage in communication, in discourses that are worth engaging in. These conversations must happen. They must be reflective. They must be rich. They must be unbounded because they are necessary. We wouldn't be speaking about the untold Renaissance if we do not confront the fact that we have to provide room to talk about the untold. And ladies and gentlemen, this UWC Week's theme is a reflection that we must actually all focus on. Indulge in it, make it count, realize that we've got what it takes to tell our stories. Thank you very much and enjoy this particular keynote address. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lehlé Baldé-Cameron. I am the co-chief executive alongside Tinio here. And I have the honor of introducing our keynote speaker, Lehlé Baldé-Cameron. Before she speaks, I think I always trust the speaker better when I am aware of all her accomplishments and achievements. So before she can begin, I'd just like to let you guys know who Lehlé is. So Lehlé is a globally minded leader dedicated to advancing sustainable development and economic inclusion in Africa. Recognized as an IMF Youth Fellow and Acumen Fellow, she has lived in over 10 countries, including 5 years in Eswatini. She's one of us. These years have shaped her commitment to international development. Lehlé has hosted panels worldwide and participated in prestigious events like the World Economic Forum. Her collaborations with the Bill and the Melinda Gates Foundation, Business Day Nigeria, and the Ford Foundation highlight her efforts in economic inclusion and social impact across Africa. She has earned accolades such as Forbes Africa 30 Under 30 and the Future Africa Award for Entrepreneurship. Lehlé is celebrated for reshaping narratives for African women and is a prominent voice in public discourse. Her dedication to empowering underserved communities through education and media initiatives embodies the spirit of Africa Week. We are thrilled to have her share her insights and experiences with us today. Please join me in welcoming Lehlé Baldé-Cameron.
Good morning, good afternoon to you all. Before we get started, I want to give out some sweets from Nigeria. So Camille is going to help me give out some sweets. I would throw them at you, but I don't want to throw them at you. So let's have some sweets from Nigeria. These are called tom-toms, and they are strong menthol flavored candy made in Nigeria. All right, let's settle in. I hope you guys enjoy them. I'm not trying to bribe you or anything, but I also have some gifts for you guys, so I'll be asking questions throughout the presentations. We have some Ankara, what do you call this? A bag. We have bookmarks. So please try and stay as engaged as possible so we can give out these wonderful goodies. All right. So hello, future leaders of Africa, distinguished guests and students, welcome to the Renaissance. Not Beyonce's Renaissance, but the untold Renaissance of Africa. Thank you all very much for welcoming me here today. It's an absolute honor and privilege to stand before you today amidst the bright minds and hopeful hearts illuminating this incredible continent's future. As I look around, I see not just students, I see dreamers, I see innovators and visionaries, essentially the foundation upon which Africa will build its bright and promising future. So let's clap for you guys. I also see some familiar faces. I see some of my friends' parents, Auntie Audrey, Uncle Charles. It's wonderful to have you here with us. I also see Luke and Oliver Mill's parents. Thank you for being with us today and for coming to support. I see classmates such as Sepati, Joanne, and just a bunch of people who shaped the person that I am today. You all knew me as a child, a teenager, and I'm so grateful that you are all here today. I'll try not to cry. You all have not changed, and I'll definitely be coming to you for some beauty secrets after this, because I need to know how you haven't changed, Auntie Audrey, from when I met you at 11 to now. I'd also like to thank the SRC team, especially Iman and Teniel, who have made this experience incredible for me. To be honest, when I saw that His Excellency Thabo Mbeki, former president of South Africa, was the keynote speaker last year, I was like, wow, those are some really, really big shoes to fill. So, my name is Lehlé Baldé-Cameron, and I was once sitting in the exact seats that you're currently seated on. Reflecting on my own high school experience, there are so many memories that flood my mind. My family and I were living in Kenya at the time, and my parents informed us that we would be moving to Swaziland. I was 11 years old and responded something along the lines of, "Oh cool, we're moving to Switzerland." My parents corrected us and said, "No, well, it's near South Africa. It's kind of like Switzerland because it's really cold and mountainous." When I arrived in Swaziland in April of 2004, we drove in from Johannesburg, South Africa, and I admired the scenery and simplicity of this place that was going to be my home for the next 4 years. And yes, just much like today, it was freezing. I remember that there was a perfect bus route that picked us up somehow perfectly at the right time. During the cold seasons, like some of you, I often overslept and missed the bus and had to find my way to school. My journey at Waterford started 20 years ago in 2004. And between the ages of 11 to 15, I walked up and down this hill every morning. I remember vividly navigating those hills every morning with Babe Lawrence and Babe Dlamini, driving our bus to and fro with such finesse. I always wondered how they did it so effortlessly because we all know how windy that hill can be. I wonder how much has changed and how many of you have also had the chastening experience of missing the school bus. Has anybody here missed the school bus before? Okay, I'm not the only one then. The feeling of panic when you realize that you've overslept, the rush scramble to get ready, and the inevitable embarrassment of arriving late, and not to mention your parents being upset with you because you missed the bus. I can still recall the mornings when I would run out of the house hoping against hope that the bus was just a little late that day, and that did not happen very often. And then there were mornings where things went very smoothly. The camaraderie on the bus, the chatter, the laughter with friends, and the sense of routine and reliability. Those bus rides were more than just a means of getting to school. They were significant parts of the school experience, shaping friendships and creating lasting memories. I think it's important to think about how some aspects of school life remain constant. Have you experienced the same highs and lows of catching the bus? And what stories do you have of early morning dashes or the friendships that were forged on your daily commute? If you are a boarder, perhaps you overslept and were late for breakfast. Then there were also school assemblies like this one, or our school socials, where we would party and have fun, hanging out with friends, and UWC days much like this one. One thing that I see that definitely hasn't changed is the very cold weather. I'm going to keep on saying that. And one different thing that I see is that the country that I once knew as Swaziland is now Eswatini, which in itself is an act of African Renaissance. I am happy to see some familiar faces like Mrs. Tinney, who taught me IT. She was always the sweetest, kindest teacher ever. Absolutely love Mrs. Tinney. And Lisa as well, it's amazing to see you. Mr. Wakesa, it's great to see you here as well. And to learn that you were actually the catalyst for UWC Africa Week. So thank you for that. I also saw Mr. Storer yesterday, and it's wonderful to see that he hasn't changed. He's still witty and energetic as always. I would like to thank you all for the little or big part that you played in shaping who I am today. And if you survive teaching us, I know that your positions now must feel like a vacation. I can only hope to emulate your longevity and your patience, as I know what we were like as students. Back then, I could not wait to become an adult. Now, as I reminisce on my childhood and my upbringing, I cherish the simplicity of those days. The first piece of advice that I will share with you is to not be in a hurry to grow up. I know that sounds like, okay, whatever, what is she saying? But time flies, and before you know it, you're 30, you're married, you're thinking about kids. So enjoy your journey, savor the moments, and embrace every stage of life as it comes. What was interesting about the year 2004, when I moved with my family to Swaziland, which is now known as Eswatini, is that it represented exactly 10 years after apartheid officially ended in South Africa. Many of you were not even born then. Before then, I had lived in Madagascar, in Italy, and in Kenya, and I had never really given much consideration to my race, what it meant to be African, or anything of that sort. I must admit that I was a lot younger to have those kinds of innocent considerations. My dad recently shared a story about how we stopped in Johannesburg in 1994 on our way from Madagascar to Senegal and visited some white South African colleagues of my mother. He told us about how we swam in their swimming pool and played with their kids and had a great time. This was in 1994. As an adult, knowing the political turmoil that happened in South Africa in 1994, I'm simply astonished by that story. That we were able to play and be as free as birds when just a few months before it would have been quite literally impossible. I was simply a young girl living life and loving it. We had heard of the wonderful reputation of this school, that Nelson Mandela's children attended, a school where Desmond Tutu's children were able to live freely without constant worry of their blackness and the power imbalances that it connoted at the time in Southern Africa. I remember wondering why that was such a big deal. I had attended international schools my entire life, intermingled with folks from all over the world. But I soon came to understand why that was very significant. Growing up in the 1990s and the 2000s as an African child meant navigating many misconceptions and a lack of visibility in global culture. I remember a time when I couldn't name 5 contemporary African artists, let alone hear their music echoing through the streets of London, Switzerland, or Paris. But today, I stand amazed at how much has changed. Walking through London, I hear infectious beats of Wizkid. Is any Nigerians in the house? Yay! Hey sis. I'm from Senegal, but I live in Nigeria, and I love Nigeria. So I hear the infectious beats of Wizkid in DC. In DC, I find myself jamming to Thames and Aerostar. And I was recently in Davos, Switzerland, and the rhythms of Tyler and Burna Boy reverberated through the air. These artists, with their distinct styles and narratives, have transcended borders and reshaped the African narrative. Their rise isn't just about music, it's about reclaiming African identity and being proud of it. It's about challenging stereotypes and showcasing the diversity and richness of African creativity. It's about forging connections across continents and fostering a deeper appreciation for the mosaic of cultures that make up our world. So before I go on, I would love for someone to let me know of the most successful African business person that you know of. You can just shout out the names, okay? All right. I mean, let's take it one at a time. So what did you have to say? Sorry? Say that again? Petty Motimba. Patrick Motimba. He's from where? South Africa. Okay, so you get a bookmark. Yes, I would love to hear from you over there. Sorry? Say his name again? Masiwia. Okay. Thank you. Yes, Matthew? Aliko Dangote. All right, can someone help me? You're not students. I want to hear from the students. All right, you over there. James Wangi. That's an East African businessman. Kenyan. You over there? Yeah, you in the hat. Okay. Where's the person from? South Africa. Awesome. And then I think I have two more hands, so you over there and then you over there, and then we'll move on. Please, you can just shout out the person's name. You in the hat. Yes. Yes, Mansa Bunsa. I mean, I think he's like the OG of African business people. Thank you. All right, clap for yourselves. I mean, you did better than me. So the reason why I asked you that is because there was a time in my life where the names of Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg dominated my understanding of success and influence. While names like Aliko Dangote, Folorunsho Alakija, and Stella Okoli remained unknown to me. Today, I stand before you humbled by the incredible journeys of these remarkable individuals and what they've been able to achieve. So for those of you who don't know, Aliko Dangote is the richest black man in the world. He's also the richest African in the world, and he also is Nigerian. So shout out to Nigeria. He began his journey in Kano, Nigeria. He started small, trading commodities and building relationships that laid the foundation for what would become the Dangote Group, a conglomerate with interest in cement, sugar, salt, and more. Through perseverance and strategic vision, Aliko Dangote transformed a modest trading business into one of the largest and most diversified industrial conglomerates in Africa, contributing significantly to the continent's economic development. Folorunsho Alakija is the world's richest black woman. She's also Nigerian. And her path to success is equally inspiring. Initially, she was trained as a secretary. She also used to make clothes, just quite like this one. She was a seamstress. She ventured into fashion and later into oil exploration. Her company, Pampa Oil, who are owners of one of the largest buildings in Ikoyi, Nigeria, discovered oil in commercial quantities, propelling her into the ranks of the world's wealthiest women. She's actually wealthier than Oprah Winfrey. But you wouldn't know that because the media doesn't tell you these stories. Alakija's journey underscores the importance of resilience and seizing opportunities. From a secretary to a fashion designer to the world's richest black woman, to me that's extraordinary. And I think it should empower you all, inspire you all that you can achieve anything that you really want. And last but not least is Stella Okoli. She's the founder of Emzo Pharmaceuticals in Nigeria. I know that there's a session on STEM after this. So to all the girls or boys that want to be in STEM, listen up. She started her entrepreneurial journey with a vision to provide affordable and high-quality healthcare products. With determination and a commitment to improving healthcare access, she grew Emzo into a multi-billion, not million-dollar company. Yeah, I think we should just take that in. So imagine the Africa of your dreams and think deeply about what the African Renaissance means to you. The future of our continent lies in your ability to to dream big, and to work towards those dreams. Regardless of your financial situation, your commitment, passion, and willingness to engage can make a significant difference in Africa's development journey. By acting and collaborating with local communities that many of you are already involved in, through extracurricular activities, to help you think outside of yourself and give back to the communities around you. You must keep these values to build the Africa of your dreams. So living in Swaziland made me hyper-aware of racial constructs in various parts of the world in a way that I was not exposed to before. And to be quite honest, if someone had come to me at the age of 11 and said, "Oh, I want to talk to you about the African Renaissance," I probably would have rolled my eyes and said, "Okay, but I'm going to play now," or "I'm going to, chat on Mixit," or something like that. I implore you to please not be like the 11-year-old me, and to imagine the Africa of your dreams and what the African Renaissance means to you. So I'd like to tell you guys a little story about my name. Many people that went to school with me called me Lehlé Baldé. That actually is not my name. My name is Lehlé Baldé. My siblings and I started our education system or journey in the French system. Like many from former French colonies, like Senegal, like many people from former French colonies, my siblings and I navigated a path where language and identity often was intertwined. At 8, I transitioned from the French system to the British system without knowing any English. I spoke French and I spoke Italian, but I didn't speak any English at all. So my name, Lehlé, became a point of struggle for my teachers, starting in Kenya, leading them to call me Lily. For years, I accepted this mispronunciation of my name, unaware of the profound importance of my name's true sound. It wasn't up until my time in Canada for university that I started to assert the pronunciation of my name. I found the courage and the voice to reclaim my identity by asserting the correct pronunciation, Lehlé. This moment marked not just a return to my roots, but a powerful affirmation of self-respect, cultural pride, and underscoring the journey from acceptance to empowerment. So what's in a name? For me, the mispronunciation of my name Lehlé to Lily was more than just a simple mistake. It was a profound loss of identity and cultural heritage. My name derived from the Fulani word, moonlight, is a beautiful, beautiful name that I was named after my grandmother. It symbolizes, it's the short form of Lehlé Wow, which symbolizes the moonlight, essentially the light produced from the moon. And in Siswati, Lehlé means beauty. By adopting the name Lily, which is a beautiful flower, to ease others' pronunciation difficulties, I inadvertently sidelined my true self and my cultural legacy embedded in my name. This act of conformity, while seemingly small, casts an extremely long shadow over my sense of self, leading to feelings of alienation and internal conflict. However, my name became a pivotal moment of empowerment. As I insisted on being called Lehlé and not Lily, I began to see the beauty of my name and how it was representative and reflected in my own life, fostering a deeper connection to my roots and a surge in personal confidence. This journey underscored the importance of embracing one's cultural identity and resisting the pressures to assimilate. it also highlights the broader societal need for mutual respect and understanding in multicultural environments. By honoring and correctly pronouncing each other's names, we contribute to a more inclusive and respectful society where everyone's identity is celebrated. And when I moved to Canada for university, I realized that a lot of my friends and colleagues from Asia, China, would have to adopt English names for people to be able to pronounce their names, for people who were not able to pronounce their names. So put up your hand if anybody has ever pronounced your name incorrectly. Yeah. So I actually would want just one person to come up on stage, please, and tell me how that made you feel. So let's clap for her.
Okay, I did not expect this. My name is Petal, like a flower. And my name, at first I did not like my name. I thought, why is my name not Lily? Why is my name not Rose? Why is it Petal? So I asked my dad, and he said, because you're my first daughter, and you're very special to me, and I wanted something that was just as special as you. So I really love my name. A lot of people like my name, but I love my name because I'm the only child that my father named out of my 3 siblings. So there was a special connection between us. So when people mispronounce my name, I feel like it's a direct disrespect to my dad and the effort and the time he put into naming me. So, yeah.
Thank you, Petal. I can totally relate to you. Like when I lived in Italy, I wanted my name to be Francesca or like Sophia. I was like, what is Lehlé? Like seriously, but now I love my name. And thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. So as you saw, about 80% of people put up their name. And I think there's definitely something to be said for insisting that you are called as your name is pronounced. So I'm going to move on and talk about perceptions and portrayals of Africa and tie it to the story that I just shared. As we all may be aware, the European era of African colonization was characterized by a deliberate attempt to dismantle, suppress, and erase African cultures, languages, and identities. I mean, we heard our speaker here talk about how Siswati was, Her Excellency, Her Royal Highness, spoke about how Siswati was not, in her school she was not allowed to speak Siswati. And to me that's quite, it's kind of crazy to think about. This systemic dehumanization cast long shadows over Africa's path to independence and prosperity, leaving scars that still shape our collective memory and present. I had the pleasure of attending a student-led initiative yesterday, and some of these very issues came up. Colorism and all the things that we inherited from the colonial era. Just as nations were colonized through the erasure of their cultural essence, the mispronunciation or alteration of our names chips away at our personal identities and self-worth. Insisting on the correct pronunciation of your name is not just about phonetics. It's a powerful affirmation of your cultural heritage and individuality. It's a stand against historical formulas that sought to diminish us. When I moved to Canada, I faced stereotypes. I was born in Canada, but after Form 5, I went back to Canada for a pre-university course and then university. So when I moved to Canada, I faced stereotypes that were both subtle and overt. And many of you who will be finishing IB2, unfortunately, will have to face those same unfortunate stereotypes in the Western world. Friends would jokingly ask if my father was a president or royalty, unable to grasp how an African girl could be multilingual and confident. Questions like, "How do you speak so well?" Or assumptions about my financial background were very common. These experiences exposed a deep-seated misconceptions about Africa, driven by limited and often negative portrayals in global media. The idea that all Africans should be poor, unexposed, and not well-spoken is a legacy of the same narrow-mindedness that fueled colonization. By asserting our names and sharing our stories, we challenge these stereotypes and illuminate the rich tapestry of Africa's diversity. We educate others and inspire a more nuanced and respectful understanding of our continent and its people. So as some of you may know, I am a media professional. I work in media. And I basically use media to shed light on the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm very passionate about things like financial inclusion, financial literacy, and bridging the finance gap. The portrayal of Africa in mainstream media has often been narrow and skewed, focusing only on poverty, disease, conflict, while overlooking the continent's diverse cultures, economic progress, and contributions to global innovation. This one-dimensional narrative has perpetuated stereotypes and shaped global perceptions, painting a bleak picture that fails to capture the complexity and dynamism of the continent of Africa. For decades, headlines and images of famine, disease outbreaks, and political instability have dominated international news coverage, reinforcing misconceptions about Africa as a continent perpetually mired in crisis. While these challenges are real and deserving of attention, they do not define Africa's entire reality. The media's fixation on Africa's problems has obscured its many successes and advancements. Economic growth, technological innovation, and a burgeoning middle class are reshaping many nations, yet these stories often receive scant attention compared to the negative news. Moreover, Africa's cultural richness and historical significance are often overlooked. Ancient civilizations, vibrant art scenes, and diverse languages are integral parts of Africa's identity, yet they are often overshadowed and frequently sensationalized through the media. In a world of media and journalism, our words have the power to build bridges and reinforce barriers. They can perpetuate stereotypes or dismantle them. They can inspire empathy and solidarity, or breed ignorance and division. As a storyteller, and I believe we're all storytellers, we have the responsibility to seek truth and amplify marginalized voices, to uphold the dignity of every individual and community. We must challenge ourselves to go beyond surface-level narratives and delve into the complexities of our shared humanity. So in 2017, driven by an inexplicable pull, I left the comfort of Canada and moved to Lagos, Nigeria. It was a decision met with a lot of skepticism. Friends and colleagues were puzzled by my choice, influenced by the often negative and exaggerated stereotypes surrounding Nigeria. Yet something deep within me urged me to reconnect with the continent, and trusting that instinct brought me to a place of profound transformation. And I must say, when our friends and family members move to the UK or Canada or Switzerland, nobody ever asks you, why are you moving to Canada? Why are you moving to Switzerland? There's just an assumption that, okay, your life is going to be better if you move. But the reverse, when I was moving to Nigeria, I was met with so many questions, and people just didn't understand why I would want to leave Canada to move to Nigeria, all places. And Nigeria actually is my favorite country in the entire world, I have to be honest now. So arriving in Lagos, I was instantly captivated by the vibrancy of the city and the tenacity of its people. Contrary to the grim narratives often portrayed, I found a thriving hub of young entrepreneurs, many in their 20s, defying the odds and launching businesses with little to no government support. Their resilience and ingenuity were nothing short of inspiring. I witnessed the amazing global rise of Nigerian music. Who's your favorite Nigerian artist, guys? Burna Boy, Wizkid, Tems, Ira Star. Yeah. This was a generation seizing their futures and not waiting for opportunities, but creating them, driven by a fierce pride of often mistaken for arrogance. Nigerians are the most amazing, self-assured Africans you'll ever meet, and I think that we can all take something from their supposed arrogance. It's not arrogance, it's confidence. This pride and industrious spirit led me to a new chapter in my career. I joined a leading finance publication called Business Day and discovered my true passion, telling positive African stories. Amidst the lazy global depictions of Africa, I saw a huge opportunity to spotlight the achievements and the resilience of both ordinary and extraordinary Africans. In 2020, I co-founded a publication with Business Day Media dedicated to this mission. My team and I weave narratives that empower, inspire, and celebrate our African heritage every week. So as a journalist and editor of a national publication, there are two stories in particular that have left an indelible mark on me. So I know that there's one person that said she was from Nigeria. So I'm going to ask you, and I don't mean to point you out, but do you know the drink called the Chapman? Sorry, where are you? I can't. Okay, can you stand? Thank you. Nice to meet you. What's your name? Sorry, Emma Bong. Where are you from in Nigeria? Lagos. Okay. So do you know the Chapman? You don't know the Chapman drink? Okay, does anyone here know the Chapman drink? Okay, you have some hands up here. Okay. So the first is the tale of the Chapman cocktail. It's this delicious mocktail that's like a mix of amaretto sours and just like various ingredients. And it's an iconic Nigerian drink. But unfortunately, like many African creations, its origin is often misattributed to British influence. A lot of people said that it was Mr. Chapman from England that was the true creator of this drink. And if you go to Nigeria, literally you can order a Chapman anywhere you go. And it's just like that drink or that mocktail. But essentially, the true creator of that drink was a man called Mr. Samuel Alamutu from Ogun State. And the misrepresentation is a microcosm of how African contributions are frequently overshadowed and misconstrued by popular culture. So I actually went to meet his family, did some research, and was able to attribute this drink to a man who had passed. The second story is our coverage of the NSAS movement in 2020. Did you guys hear about the NSAS movement in Nigeria? This decentralized protest against police brutality, particularly the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, known as SARS, was a powerful testament to the Nigerian spirit. As a member of the media, we bore the responsibility to amplify the movement's voices and uphold principles of the Fourth Estate, documenting the bravery and the cry for justice echoed through the nation. And throughout the African continent, we've seen similar situations like NSARS. My journey in Nigeria has been a powerful reminder of the impact of storytelling. By reclaiming our narratives and celebrating our heritage, we honor our past and empower our present, paving the way for a brighter future. Through these stories that we tell, we challenge stereotypes and inspire change, fostering a deeper understanding and respect for our diverse and dynamic continent. I have had the opportunity to be around and interview very successful people. I have interviewed and interacted with people from all walks of life, regular people, people who work in markets, heads of states, prominent business people, and many others. And as young people standing in this room today, I just want to let you know that every human being is the same. Every human being is equal. No one is better than anyone else. We're all just human. And I think sometimes as young people, we idolize success or like people who have attained a certain level of success. And that's a beautiful thing. But I want you guys to know that there's nobody who's superior or inferior to you, and that you can actually, the people who inspire you, you can actually be those people in 10 to 15 years. So if you take anything from this speech, is always remain true to who you are and never think that anybody is below or beneath you. Sorry, beneath or above you. Because when you find yourself in situations where you have to interact with a super successful person, you have to remain true to who you are and not lose your values. It's something that myself and your principal were discussing yesterday. So another story, and someone should time check me. In 2021, I embarked on a journey that unexpectedly tested my resilience and brought a light to a significant issue affecting many Africans, which is visa restrictions within our continent. Who has a best friend here? Do you guys have best friends? Yeah? All right. My best friend, her name is Chanda. She's from Zambia. And she got married in 2021 to the love of her life. Yeah. I was in Ghana. My husband is half Ghanaian. So I was in Ghana, eagerly preparing to travel from Accra to Lusaka, and then onwards to Victoria Falls for Chanda's wedding. And I also had the honor of being maid of honor. The excitement was palpable as I headed to the airport in Ghana, envisioning the joyous celebration ahead. However, fate had other plans in store. As I was standing in the Kenyan Airways counter, ready to embark on this journey, I received devastating news that I couldn't board my flight because I lacked a necessary visa. Now, mind you, I had called Chanda to make sure that I didn't need a visa to come to Zambia as a Senegalese, because she had previously come for my sister's wedding and didn't need a visa. So we assumed that it was like a reciprocal type of agreement. We wrongly assumed. Always check, never assume. So I got to the Kenyan Airways counter, told me I couldn't board the flight. Shock and disbelief washed over me as I realized that I may be missing my best friend's wedding that I had so looked forward to attending. With a heavy heart, I had no choice but to leave Accra, go to Lagos, where I hastily obtained my Canadian passport, a document that would grant me access to all African countries where my African passport could not. Yeah. And I also recognize the privilege of having 2 passports. After securing the new passport, I purchased another ticket and embarked on the journey once more, determined not to let bureaucratic hurdles stand in my way. Finally, arriving in Lusaka, I faced a very negligible $50 entry fee, and I was on my way as a Canadian. But as a Senegalese, I would not have been able to do the same thing. While this may seem trivial to some, it's actually significant of the stark reminder of the barriers that African citizens often face in their continent. Barriers that not only hinder personal plans, but also economic and cultural exchanges that are vital for our collective growth. Reflecting on this experience, I couldn't help but feel a profound disappointment and frustration. As an African, I yearn for a continent where borders would not impede our movement, where celebrating a friend's wedding wouldn't hinge on bureaucratic approvals, and where the promise of unity and solidarity among African nations would be more than just a rhetoric. This journey, though fraught with setbacks, underscored the urgent need for change. It highlighted the imperative for African governments to prioritize policies that facilitate easier travel among African citizens, promoting economic integration, cultural exchange, and a sense of unity that transcends colonial-era divisions. Because if you know anything about what's called the scramble for Africa, it's when European nations came together and decided which piece of the pie they were going to have. And it's ironic to think that before the scramble for Africa, Europeans marked their territories with borders placed on our continent. I mentioned to you earlier that I'm from Senegal, and in order to get to my village in the south of Senegal, I have to go through Gambia to get there. So Senegal and Gambia was the Senegambia before Britain and France came together and wanted to scramble for it. I know that these conversations can be difficult to have, but it's important that we have them so that we can look towards a brighter future. Before these borders were haphazardly placed, on the African continent, we had the Kingdom of Ghana, which flourished from the 6th to the 13th centuries in present-day Mali and Mauritania. We had the Kingdom of Mali, a powerful empire from the 13th to the 16th centuries in West Africa, famous for Emperor Mansa Musa's pilgrimage to Mecca and its wealth in gold. We had the Kingdom of Shanghai, Kingdom of Ethiopia, Hausa city-states, Kingdom of Congo, the Berber kingdoms of North Africa, the Swahili coast, the Benin, East Africa in the house, the Benin kingdom, and so many others. So I just think it's ironic that Kingdom of Kush, that we had these amazing kingdoms and now we need visas to get from point A to point B. So, I want you guys to close your eyes for a second. Close your eyes and envision a continent where the ancient rhythms of wisdom harmonize with the melodies of modern innovation. Picture Africa as a vibrant tapestry woven from diverse cultures, languages, and landscapes, where every heartbeat resonates with a story of resilience and hope. Imagine a United States of Africa where a ticket from Dakar to Lagos doesn't cost more than a ticket from Lagos to London. An Africa where, as a Senegalese woman, I don't have to rely on anything but my Senegalese passport to visit a country whose populations could be my relatives, whose borders were placed by colonial powers during the scramble for Africa. I implore you to please Google the scramble for Africa. This is what the African Renaissance could be. So not so long ago, Africa faced formidable challenges: the legacy of colonialism, the scars of inequality, and the liberation struggle. Yet, amidst adversity, visionaries emerged, such as Cheikh Anta Diop, an eminent scholar from Senegal, who pioneered the concept of African Renaissance in 1948, envisioning a continent rising from adversity, reclaiming its identity, and charting a course towards greatness. In 1954, Diop reintroduced the Egyptology, the historical accounts from Westerners like Herodotus and Strabo, which explicitly noted the black skin and African ancestry of ancient Egyptians, and the notion that all human beings originated in Africa. I only learned this like 10 years ago. I had no idea that the start of the world, according to some, started right here on this continent. And then there was Kwame Nkrumah. Any Ghanaians in the house? It's saying. The passionate Kwame Nkrumah, the passionate leader from Ghana whose voice thundered across the plains, rallying for a new era of African unity and self-reliance. And of course, our beloved leader, Nelson Mandela, stands as a towering symbol of resilience and reconciliation. Muammar Gaddafi, controversial yet visionary, advocated for African unity and self-reliance during his tenure as Libya's leader. He championed the idea of the United States of Africa, and many say that that was the beginning of the end for him. The call to action and vision for an African Renaissance. What does African Renaissance really signify for us today, here in this room? It transcends mere history. It embodies a symphony of possibilities. And to be quite honest, it beckons in each and every one of you, young minds and future leaders, to embrace your roots and to shape a future where Africa shines as a beacon of hope for the world. Imagine yourselves at the forefront of a movement where democracy thrives, where peace is not just a distant dream, but a tangible reality, and where innovation and progress flow like the rivers Nile, Niger, and Zambezi. The vision championed by leaders like Thabo Mbeki, calls us to break free from the chains of our past and to forge a future where every African child can dream without limits. The untold African Renaissance challenges us to rise above discord and harness our diversity as a strength and build bridges of understanding that span continents. It's a journey of empowerment and enlightenment where each of you holds a crucial role in shaping Africa's narrative of triumph. For decades, as I mentioned earlier, mainstream media and narratives have often reduced Africa to a single story of poverty. This narrow lens has overshadowed the continent's incredible diversity, its ancient civilizations, and its innovative contributions to humanity. Africa is not a monolith. It's a continent of over 50 countries, with each its own cultures, languages, and history. From the ancient pyramids in Egypt to the bustling markets of Lagos, and the wildlife-rich plains of the Serengeti, and the vibrant art scenes of Johannesburg and Nairobi. Africa is a tapestry of beauty, resilience, and dynamism. Let me talk about African potential. Astonishing change is unfolding across Africa, with the population projected to nearly double to 2.5 billion over the next quarter century. This not only promises to transform many African nations, but also to profoundly reshape their global relationships. While birth rates decline all over the world in wealthier nations, Africa's demographic surge continues to drive the emergence of the youngest and fastest growing population on the planet. In 1950, Africans comprised just 8% of the global population. And by the end of this century, we are projected to constitute a quarter of humanity, with at least 1 in 3 young people aged between the ages of 15 to 24 being African, according to the United Nations projections. The median age across the African continent right now is 19, which is significantly younger compared to India, which is 28, the world's most populous country, and 38 in both China and the United States. This means that the power narratives are changing and that your children, 10 to 20 years from now, will experience a better Africa. I'd love to talk about the spirit of Ubuntu. There's a beautiful Zulu philosophy called Ubuntu. It means I am because we are. Let's say that again. I am because we are. It's the belief that we are all interconnected, that our humanity is shared, and that our destinies are bound together. And today, I can see that the spirit of Ubuntu is alive in each and every one of you. You guys inspire me. You are part of a generation that sees beyond borders and barriers. You understand that your success is intertwined with the success of your neighbor, your community, and your continent. And it's this spirit of togetherness that will drive Africa forward into a new era of prosperity and peace. But this journey is not just about technology or resources, it's about you. It's about your dreams. It's about your education and your determination to make a difference. Education is the key that unlocks the door to opportunity. I've seen this in my own life. My dad was the first person in his family to get access to Western education. Previously to that, everyone in his family was learning the Quran. And I've seen how education has been amazing in his life and what he's been able to do with education. It's what empowers you to think critically, to ask questions, and to dream big. Each one of you has the potential to change the world. And I know we hear this all the time, but you quite literally have the potential to change the world. Whether you aspire to be a doctor, a teacher, an entrepreneur, or a leader, a journalist, your dreams are the seeds of our future. And when you nurture these dreams with hard work and dedication, a commitment to excellence, there is literally no limit to what you can achieve. And I'm not just saying that, I truly mean it. And I've seen it happen in my own life. As you pursue your dreams, remember that the importance of building bridges. Africa's strength lies in its diversity and its many cultural languages and traditions. I want you to embrace this diversity, learn from each other, celebrate what makes each of you unique, and find common ground in your shared humanity. We are living in an era of extraordinary change. Technology is revolutionizing our lives. New ideas are reshaping our societies, and the world is more interconnected than ever. Africa is not just participating in these changes, it's leading them. Look around you. Across this continent, young people are harnessing the power of technology to solve problems, to create businesses, and to build stronger communities. You are the innovators of tomorrow, coding the future, inventing solutions, and demonstrating to the world that Africa is a land of boundless innovation and potential. Your creativity and determination are transforming challenges into opportunities, proving that Africa is not only capable, but also a beacon of progress and a beacon of hope. We actually have the opportunity to leapfrog some steps to digitalization in comparison to other countries that have had to go through and fully embrace the Industry 4.0 future to take advantage of AI and cutting-edge technology. I want you to embrace this moment. Seize the opportunities before you. Let your passion and ingenuity light the way for others. You are the architects of a brighter future, showing the world that Africa's best days are not just ahead, they are already unfolding. Together, you are shaping a legacy of innovation, resilience, possibility that will inspire generations to come. So I wanted to show you guys some inspiring African people, young African people, for you to be able to see yourselves in their stories and know that it's possible. So, does anyone know who this man is? No? Okay, I'm going to tell you about him. His name is Adebola Williams. He was born in 1986, and he's a Nigerian media entrepreneur, journalist, political consultant, and motivational speaker. He's the CEO of a company called Red for Africa, and he co-founded and runs Red for Africa, which is Africa's largest portfolio of youth media brands that include Red Media, Statecraft, The Future Award Africa, which I'm a recipient of, and Why Niger. His career in media and television began at the Nigerian Television Authority with advocacy for youth and eventually good governance. Described as the man with the golden touch by Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo, he was profiled by Forbes as a man who helped a trifecta of presidents in Africa. So Debola has actually helped the Ghanaian president, the Nigerian president, the Senegalese president, a bunch of Botswana presidents to actually win elections through media. So this is a man that you should know. His name is Adebola Williams. And every time you see him outside, like at global events, he's wearing his proudly Nigerian outfits with his Yoruba red hat. He was born in a family of 10 to a wealthy family, but his family lost everything that they had. So he had to struggle in his early teen years. Williams wanted to become an actor and was paid only 50 cents for his first acting role. He started working as an assistant with a counselor and a psychologist as a freelancer without any relevant qualification. And by the time he chalked up 3 years of worthy experience at NTA, he was able to make something quite great of himself. From someone whose parents lost all their wealth, Adebola is now worth millions of dollars. Let's clap for him. I'm not sure what happened. All right. Ooh. All right. All right, so you guys know who this is. Who is this? All right, so in the start of 2018, A message from her daily devotional drove Thames to quit her job as a digital marketer to pursue a career in full-time music. 2 years later, Thames unlocked society's cage and set herself on fire to light the way for a new vanguard of music. Although she struggled to come into her own early on, it wasn't all bad for her growing up. She fondly reminisces about writing and making music as a child with her eldest brother. When they were younger with her brother, he was gifted an elaborate guitar by her father, and they would spend a lot of time practicing music and pretend that there was a huge audience in their room. Now, it's not a pretend game for Thames anymore. She is a global superstar, and we are extremely proud of her. Let's clap for Thames. Does anyone know who this gentleman is here? Well, Ian, yes. His name is Iyenoluwa Aboyeji. He grew up in Lagos, in Yaba, Lagos, Nigeria. We actually went to the same university, University of Waterloo. And he lived with his maternal grandmother, where he had to hawk, which is essentially he had to sell things like sweets and stuff on the streets to make ends meet. However, he returned to Lagos when his father got a job with Shell, and things became seemingly better. Ian attended primary school called St. Saviour's in Nigeria. After that, the family had to migrate to another city called Warri because of his dad's work. He spent some time doing internships before eventually traveling to Canada to study legal studies at the University of Waterloo in Canada. That's where I met Ian. When he left Canada, he created a company called Andela. I want you guys to Google this when you leave here. A global job placement network for software developers in 2014. In 2016, he co-founded a company called Flutterwave, Africa's leading payments technology company. He is currently a leading partner and co-founder of a company called Future Africa, a platform that provides capital and coaching to community-driven innovators. Anybody want to guess how much Andela, the company, is now worth? Sorry? Anybody want to guess? Sorry? 2 million? Good try. Anyone else? 250 million? Good try. His company is now worth $700 million. This is from someone who used to hawk in the streets to having a company worth $700 million. Next, this wonderful human being, Peace Hyde. Peace Hyde is a British Ghanaian, wonderful woman. She was born and raised in London, where she resided until 2015 before moving back to Ghana, and she had never been to Ghana before. Her parents are Ghanaian, but she was born and raised in the UK. In her early years in London, she briefly practiced as a child psychologist before embarking on a career as a science teacher, specializing in physics, chemistry, and biology. Peace Hyde is an alumna of Middlesex University, where she obtained a degree in psychology. She's now a television producer, TV host, creator, and journalist, and an education activist. Do you guys know the Netflix series Young, Famous, and African? So Peace is the executive director and producer of that show, as well as the head of digital media and partnerships at West African and West African correspondent at Forbes Africa. She's the founder of Aim Higher Africa, a non-for-profit focused on improving the quality of education in impoverished communities across Africa. She's an award-winning journalist, and she was awarded the African Social Impact Award at the House of Parliament, House of Commons in the UK. I call Peace Hyde a wonderful woman because I looked after her so much when I lived in Nigeria, and she basically took me under her wing. She didn't hesitate with giving me advice, information, resources, and I think we should all aim to be like Peace, always trying to empower the next person without feeling envy or jealousy for the person's potential or achievements. For some reason, I can't see this person's picture, but Jumoke Dada, that's all right. Jumoke Dada started working as an intern at an interior design firm. She's an architecture and a furniture manufacturer in Nigeria. She was inspired to launch her own brand by attending an interior design conference in 2016, where Japanese and American designers mentioned Africans as consumers and not manufacturers. Hearing this challenged her to quit her job and travel around Nigeria to see how local resources can be harnessed. The first piece of furniture that she ever created, she only made 17,000 naira profit, which is about, nowadays, it's like $15. And she's since gone on to turn her company, Taeo, into a multi-million-dollar furniture brand, primarily using e-commerce and social commerce as their model. So Taeo can be compared to the IKEA of Nigeria. Oh, my favorite pretty girl from Joburg. I have to show her. Where is she? I need help. Okay. Woo! So, as you guys already know, this is our pretty girl from Joburg. Where are the pretty girls from Joburg in the room? Woo! We love it, we love it. So Tyler, someone that we all love and we're super proud of, she's a pop star. She began studying towards a degree in mining engineering after matriculating. And she soon realized that entertainment was her passion. And since then, Tyler has committed her life to the music industry. She says, ever since I could say the word singer, it was all I told people that I wanted to be. I grew up listening to almost every genre, and she comes from a very musical family. Tyler has taken over the music world, and honestly, I'm super proud of her. As a South African young lady that is charting global charts, and also being, I think, sometimes bullied in so many ways for identifying as what she truly identifies as. So let's clap for Tyler, guys, because she's doing a good job, and she's representing us well. Okay. Oh. And then there's one last person I wanted to tell you guys about, and his name is just if you can go up, next one, yeah. His name is Tayo Aina. He is one of Africa's most prominent YouTubers with a subscription of over 600,000 subscribers. Tayo started off as an Uber driver in Lagos, and it's the job that gave him a better understanding of the city. He then began creating videos and highlighting major landmarks and top real estate listings in Lagos. Now, he is much more comfortable than he was with his Uber salary, and he travels the continent documenting African stories and communities that are lost to the internet, sharing them with thousands of followers. Through his nuanced visual storytelling, he has shown Africa for what it truly is, erasing the decades of stereotypes ascribed to the continent by Western media. So let's clap for all these wonderful Africans, guys. Doing amazing things. I'm going to quickly finish up. I have a message for the ladies and the girls in the room. Not to alienate the men or the guys, but this is for the ladies. So I love being a woman, but Lord knows that my 20s were some of the years where I learned the most. As you navigate the journey of life, remember this: be bold and go after what you want. Your dreams, ambitions, and aspirations are worthy of pursuit, and here's why. Number one, courage opens doors. When you dare to be bold, you unlock opportunities for yourself. Whether it's following a passion, advocating for what you believe in, or embracing new challenges, Courage is the key that opens doors to growth and success. Do not be afraid to take that first step. It's the beginning of incredible possibilities. Number 2, you are worthy. Never doubt your worthiness to pursue your dreams. You possess unique talents. You possess unique strengths and perspectives that are invaluable. Believe in yourself and your abilities. The world needs your voice, your creativity, and your contributions. I also want you to embrace challenges. Life will present obstacles. Boy, will it present obstacles. But each challenge is a chance for growth. Face them fearlessly, knowing that every setback is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and become stronger. While you're working on yourself, also inspire others. Your boldness is contagious. By passionately pursuing your goals, you then become a beacon of possibility for those around you. Show others that with courage and determination, anything is achievable. Be the role model that you wish you had. Also, celebrate your achievements. Take pride in your successes. Each milestone is a testament to your hard work, perseverance, and courage. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small, and let them fuel your journey forward. And please ignore the haters, because the haters will come. Support each other. Build a community of empowerment. Encourage your friends and peers to be bold in their pursuits. Lift each other up and share your journeys. Rejoice in each other's victories. Together you can create a powerful network of strong, ambitious women and defy the stereotypes that women don't support women, because that's not true. I want you to never settle. Always strive for excellence and fulfillment. You should always be proud of the work that you put out into the world. Whether in education, career, relationships, or personal growth, do not settle for anything less than what you truly desire. You deserve nothing but the best, so reach for it without hesitation. 2 more things. Listen to your gut and trust your instincts. Your inner voice is a powerful guide, and it will probably never lead you astray. When you're making decisions about your future relationships or personal choices, your intuition often knows what's best for you. Please let it lead you towards a path that resonates with your true self. And last but not least, please choose a partner who shares your values, who communicates openly, who respects you, who supports your goals and enriches your life with trust and commitment. The partner that you choose, especially as a woman, has the potential to make your life great or to ruin it. Please do not choose wrongly and take your time when choosing your life partner. And last but not least, please stay true to yourself. Being a young woman in the world can sometimes feel like a double burden, but please take heart. It gets better with time. I want you to embrace your journey and with grace and authenticity. So I'm going to ask you all to please stand. I hope that none of the boys felt left out throughout that. But it's important to speak to young girls directly. All right, so we're going to say some affirmations today. I'm a true believer in affirmations, and I want us to say, so I'm going to say it first and then you guys say it after me, okay? All right, so I am a catalyst for positive change in my community and beyond. My voice matters, and I am confident in using it to inspire and lead. I embrace my unique heritage and draw strength from the rich history of Africa. Great. I am committed to learning and growing both academically and personally. I lead with integrity, respect, and a deep sense of responsibility to those I serve. I am resilient and can overcome any challenges that come my way. I am resilient My creativity and innovation are valuable assets in shaping a better future. You guys, if we were a choir, we would fail. Epically. All right. I collaborate and build bridges to foster unity and collective progress. We only have two left, guys. I celebrate the diversity and champion inclusion in all of my endeavors. Last but not least, I am the future of Africa and my contributions make a lasting impact. I am the future of Africa and my contributions make a lasting impact. Thanks. You can have a seat now. So, to the young leaders gathered here today, in closing, I say this. In closing, I'd like to say this. You are the architects of Africa's tomorrow. You are the visionaries and trailblazers who will sculpt the future of our continent. With each and every one of you lies the power to create Africa, an Africa where everyone thrives, where peace and prosperity are not just aspirations, but realities, and where our continent shines as a beacon of hope and inspiration for the entire world. I want you to embrace your dreams with unwavering confidence. I want you to believe in yourself and your potential, and your capacity to bring about change. Above all, believe in the essence of Ubuntu, that collective spirit that unites us in our journey. Together we can achieve the unimaginable. Be steadfast in your pride for your heritage and your Africanness. Know that our roots run very deeply, and our history is rich with stories and resilience and triumph. I want you to remember that the originator, the one who carries the spirit of our ancestors, can never be diminished for too long. Ensure your name is pronounced correctly. Take up the space that rightfully belongs to you, and let your presence be felt. You are the leaders of tomorrow and the torchbearers of a new dawn. Your journey is one of courage, compassion, and an unbreakable spirit that reflects the very essence of Africa. Thank you, and may your path be illuminated with strength and boundless spirit of our magnificent continent.
It's only right that we part Lehlé with a gift from the Africa Week team. I will forward you the affirmations so that you can recite them every morning. Can we give one more round of applause for Lehlé Baldé-Cameron? So we're going to ask our guests to get up and leave first before the students, and then the students can make their way to either lunch or your workshop session. Thank you very much.
Sorry guys, for those of you who are taking part in the Group A workshops, your workshop will be moved from 1 to 1:45, so please go for lunch now and then go to your workshop at 1:45. Those in the Group B, you'll be attending the next panel, which starts in 30 minutes at 1:30, and those in Group C, please continue with your timetable as the same.